Hey guys, it's Massive Beetle here, and I recently had a subscriber ask for an update to my current Murakumo list post Shirayuki banned. Now I did change the deck list a lot from, I believe, the last profile I did, which was a HYU-GA Zanbaku list, which was doing fairly well, but it had significant weaknesses, whereas if you were on HYU-GA, your HYU-GA push turn would be significantly weaker. And if you're on Zanbaku, your Zanbaku is just as weak because you weren't running fronts, you were running crits, I believe, in that build. So I reworked it completely. This is my pure HYU-GA list that I've been working on for, I believe, months now, at least, I believe. And it's gone through a lot of changes, but this is my final iteration. This is without the Minamoru grade 2, but I will show you what I would take out for that grade 2. So let's get on to the trigger lineup. And yes, this deck can still compete. For those people that think Murakumo is not meta anymore, it's still a meta viable strategy. I can still kill you consistently because the deck exudes pressure, just like all these other tier 1 decks, just like Murakami. Guess what? Your Murakami matchup is 50-50. Alright, so I'm actually running front triggers instead of crits. Crits are alright, but fronts just help you so much more because I've never needed a crit to push my opponent to 4 damage or push my opponent to a high amount of damage, and fronts just hold out more value in the entire game because once you push your opponent to 5 damage, crits have little to no value, but my fronts just have value throughout the whole duration of the game, at least in my opinion, at least. That the deck works better with front triggers, especially against force decks. This deck does struggle a little bit against force decks just because if they hit 1 defensive, then all your attacks become easier to block. That's why you do have the front triggers in the deck. So yeah, let's go on to grade 1s. For your first grade 1, this is your grade 1 ride target. You always want to ride is for Jiraiya. Jiraiya's ability on Vanguard Circle is when you ride it, you get to draw a card and put a card on the bottom of your deck. So he's just really good to help you get to your pieces, help you set up your combos, help you put triggers back that you drew into, like draw triggers or front triggers or heal triggers. So he's just really good overall. And then his rearguard ability is Counterblast 1, give your Vanguard plus 10k. Counterblast 1, give your Vanguard plus 10k. So he's really good in junction with Spellhound. So that's why I run this at 4 and I run Spellhound at 4. But yeah, you want to max out copies of him. I don't know why for the longest time a lot of Murakumo players were either not running him or not maxing him out at copies. I've actually heard people call this a bad card, which is strange to me, but to each his own. Now I run 4 Vrigglebiter. Now you guys might not know what this card is. It was a promo that came out in one of the promo packs. This card was literally designed for HYU-GA. Its ability is if you have a unit with the same name as your Vanguard on Rearguard Circle, this gets plus 4k continuously. So he just really works well in the early games when you're on Spellhound for your grade 2 ride. You call out another Spellhound. You have this behind a Spellhound. That's a 21k column that can hit past a defensive. So he's just really good in all stages of the game. And essentially he acts as your 4 more copies of Sanji. Now Sanji is literally one of the best cards in this deck. And believe it or not, a lot of people weren't even running Sanji at 4 or at 4. They were running him at 2, or they weren't running him at all because they were doing Shirayuki shenanigans. So yeah, run Sanji. His ability is if you have 2 or more other copies of wait, let me read you a build so you guys can understand. If you have another unit in the same card name as this unit on your Vanguard or Rearguard, it gets plus 5. If you have 2 or more, it gets plus 10 instead of plus 5. And that is also continuous. So you could see why this works really well with HYU-GA, because HYU-GA turns everything into a HYU-GA name. So this will be 17 by itself. And then with you activate Hyaki, it's going to be 27 by itself, which is just crazy. So yeah, run that at 4. That's my grade 1 lineup. There really isn't much other choices for your grade 1 lineup. You don't want to run Rat, because Rat's just a waste of Counterblast in my opinion, at least for the HYU-GA strategy. Because why would I waste Counterblast for a 4k booster when I can just use my Camera Blast on Hyuga to get something like a Vogue to give everything plus 10k, or get something like a Sanji or one of my grade 2s. It just has way more value to use your Camera Blast only for Hyuga and for Vogue than to use it on a rat, in my opinion at least. But onto the grade 2s. I'm running 4 of Spellhound. Now, I personally always ran 4 Spellhounds. I know a lot of people were either cutting Spellhound or running at less copies because of Shirayuki, but like I said, I believe this deck worked better by itself without the Shirayuki. Yes, it was nice to have, but I'm just one to believe that strategy works better if you go 100% into that direction of the strategy, not 50% here and 50% there. That's why I took apart the Zanbaku Hyuga deck, because it was 50-50. And it was really weak in terms of power. So yeah, you run 4 of Spellhound. Its ability is Soul Blast 2. When you place on Vanguard or Rear Guard, grab another from the deck, and then this Spellhound and that Spellhound increase or decrease their power to the power level of your current Vanguard. So that's why I was saying it works really well with Jiraiya. So we're running at 4. Now I run 4 Swift Archer Fushimis. The reason I run Fushimi is it's really good against your force matchups as a good ride target, or it's really good to get rid of pesky rear guards in the back row that you normally wouldn't be able to touch. Because if your opponent went first and they're at 10k, you ride Fushimi and you know they have something in the back row. Now you can touch it, and you have something to kill on your turn instead of just swinging vanilla and hoping you hit a trigger. So that's why I run him at 4. He's also really good for his rear guard and Vanguard ability of if you have 4 or more rear guards, he gets plus 5. So he's really good for also hitting numbers on your Hyuga turns, your grade 2 turns, etc. He's just good in all stages of the game. And if you don't need him, you just discard him for Vogue. That's what I usually do. Discard excess grade 2s that I don't need. And my next grade 2 that I play is I play 3 Central Arresters. Now the reason that I play Central Arrestor in this deck is because, yes, it's called Arrestor, but it's literally a Hyuga card. It works best with Hyuga and Vogue. To just have this as an extra attacker behind the Vanguard is just so good, to be honest. Usually when you're in your attack patterns, you usually want to attack with this first, then your Vanguard, just because you are running fronts, it won't get the power of the front trigger. And knowing my luck, the minute that I attack with my Vanguard first, they hit a defensive, and either this can't hit anymore, which is bad because it can only hit Vanguard, or it's just a 5k or 10k block now. So I usually attack with this first. And like I was saying, this is the part where I would say Minamoru would be good. I do like Minamoru. I wouldn't play it at 4 copies though, because it's a good card, but it's an extender, not a playmaker. Like, I would probably take this out, take out a grade 3, and run a Minamoru at 2. I wouldn't run it more than 2 copies, just because I don't think I'd be realistically able to get its ability off more than twice. Just because the way this deck is built and set up to run. But yeah, that's just me personally. You could do whatever you want in your Murakumo list. I just wanted to show you guys my list and what's been working out for me. And then obviously we're going to play 4 Hyuga. He's the namesake of the deck. Like, if you don't, I did build this deck to whereas you could still play the game if you don't see Hyuga. That's usually what goes into my mind of deck building is, if oh shit happens, you still need to have a chance. You know what I mean? So that's why I do certain things in this deck. So you run Hyuga at 4. Its ability is on Vanguard Circle, Camera Blast 1. Search a unit from your deck the same grade as one of your opponent's units, call it to rear guard, and then all your units become the same name as Hyuga. And his other ability is Soul Blast to 3, and then board wipe your opponent's units of all the same name, or rear guards. So yeah, he's just really crucial for this deck. He's the namesake of the deck, Hyuga deck profile. But I don't really use the board wipe, honestly. Like, if I have a Vogue and a Hyuga in hand, I'll ride Hyuga first just to push and then call the Vogue. But that's just me. I know some people really like this as a control deck. I just like this as a beat down deck, and it's just really good at that. So, and we run Vogue at 4 copies. Now I know a lot of people run Vogue at 2, 3, or even 1 copy. I run it at 4 just because what's the best deck right now? Narukami. What's one of your most important pieces on your board? HYU-GA Vogue. So what I'll normally do is, if I have a Vogue in hand, I'll keep it in hand for next turn, and then use my Vanguard, if I win second, use my Vanguard's ability to call a Vogue. But a lot of people don't think about that. That's just me. And then I run one Muto. The reason I run the Muto at 1 is because it's searchable with my Vanguard's ability. And like I said, I don't play for the board wipe, but if I do run into a situation where I do need the board wipe, I'll get, and I don't have an extra HYU-GA in hand, I'll just grab this. And it has boost, and obviously it goes into soul to draw card for its ability. And then my last one that I'm running, this is what I would probably take out for the second Minamoru, but it's essentially the same thing. I run one Dentsu Enarch. Dentsu Enarch is also one of your key cards in this deck. It gives all your units the same, all your rear guards the same name, +5, and when it's called from the deck, it gets an additional +5. So it just works really well with the deck. I would run 2, but the 4 Vogues are crucial, and this, well, you could run 2, but this is just a text slot in case I do need the board wipe, because it is there at my fruition if I do need it. So yeah, I'm just running Dentsu Enarch at 1 right now, just because he doesn't have a marker, in case I do run into any unfortunate situation that I do need to ride it. But yeah, guys, that's my HYU-GA Vogue deck profile. Let me know. Not HYU-GA Vogue, my HYU-GA deck profile. Well, it is HYU-GA Vogue because the way the deck's set up, you still, Enarch can work on Vogue. Let me see here. This can still work on Vogue. This still works on Vogue. So this is what I mean by I run certain cards in the deck so I'll be able to play the game even if I don't see HYU-GA. And I have won the game where I haven't seen a single HYU-GA, but I was able to pressure with Vogue to give power to all the Vogues that I did call the rearguard circle. Because I have heard people say the deck is HYU-GA or bust. That is true to a certain extent, but I did build it to be able to still be able to play the game and have a chance at winning even if I don't see HYU-GA. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. Let me know if you guys want to see my Dueling Dragon list. It's a good list. The only problem with Dueling Dragons is it's a high skill intensive deck. And what I mean by high skill intensive deck is that you make one misplay, you lose the game. That's what because you have to play it in such a way, because it's a control deck basically. You're controlling what your opponent does. You're controlling that they can't ride. You're controlling that they can't guard with zeros. But you have to know when you want to use those skills. You have to play in a certain way, if that makes any sense. To whereas if you can't mess up once in your attack pattern, you can't mess up once in your guarding. You need to know when to take damage, when to not take damage. So yeah, let me know if you guys want to see that deck profile, and let me know if you guys want to see my Mega Colony deck profiles. I do have a Gun and Colio deck, a deck list ready, and I do have a machining deck ready. But honestly, I just kind of got dismotivated to even profile those decks anymore, just because I just had they had such a short time of viability. Like as soon as Dragon's Vanity came out, I wasn't able to compete against any of the decks in Dragon's Vanity. Like maybe Claret Sword, I could maybe mill them out, but to legitimately win the game, I don't have a way. The deck is just not strong enough to whereas it can fully utilize the guard restrict of the grade zeros from your opponent's hand if you had the ability to do it. At least in my opinion. But I still have them, so if you want them, let me know down below. This is Master Beetle, and I'm out. Peace.